Is the Bitcoin rally ending, or is it just beginning? Well, we're going to be looking at what the statistics do show for today, what the major areas to be aware of for today, and also, of course, the most important closures coming in for tonight and what they essentially mean for today as well. Anyways, other than that, I'm going to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever the fuck day. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, man, because we're going into it anyways. So let's just start off right on over here. And first things first, I do want to say that on the 5-day time frame, which it closed last night, Bitcoin has reclaimed all major movement averages, as you have seen. We also did see the potential for that hidden bullish divergence also confirmed on this phantom drive right here. And generally speaking, we do see that the 5-day RSI is essentially rejecting the neutral, not rejecting the neutral zone, but bouncing off the neutral zone and headed back up towards the edge of the bullish control zone. So ultimately, you know, if I'm looking at it from this perspective right here, it very well looks like this rally, you know, does continue from here. However, I would like to see a couple other things here first on a more important chart, that being CME. So CME, as always, does hold the higher weight, just being that it's more professional exchange. And in this case, we do see several things. So the 3-day time frame is closing tonight. The 3-day time frame also has a potential for another drive of phantom hidden bullish divergence here, coming off of these last couple lows, which will be confirmed with any sort of a closure here or higher. Especially things would look really, really good, by the way, above about 29,000 bucks if it can do it, which it's very, very close to right now at the time of this recording, about $100 away or less than $100 away. Anyways, also on CME, we did see that the 2-day time frame closed last night, and what do you know? We do see that there is a silver cross that did happen or was confirmed on that closure, as well as the daily going on here too. Or actually, the daily is not confirmed just yet. It'll confirm tonight. But you see the daily, the 2-day both have these upside crosses, plus hidden bullish evidence on, you know, respectable timeframes, I would say. And it even looks like the daily volatility is starting to actually expand here very slowly, but you do see, you know, it consistently starting to spike from these regions over the past few weeks on these last more interesting moves, I'll say, although they are still relatively lackluster. Anyways, daily time frame right here, we can see that daily RSI is also reaching into the bullish control zone for the first time since the June rally, which Bitcoin did reach up towards 30,000 plus. And in this case, you know, realistically, Bitcoin, I suspect, is still overall range bound here. But next move, does it try another move to the upside and test the, you know, the upper boundaries of it? Perhaps yes. Very, very possible right there, with all these things kind of working in its favor. We also do see a big focus, or actually, should I go through the lower term timeframes here? Are people even interested in the lower term timeframes at this point? Probably not, because yeah, probably not. Anyways, I would like to now go through a continuation of the analysis that we did see from yesterday on the daily HPDR band. So if this is the one that I put the most weight on at this point. This is just my favorite indicator. I think it's the best thing since fucking sliced bread, and honestly, I love it, and I can't wait to release it. But we're still looking at end of month, most likely. Anyways, in this case, we do see that the daily HPDR is going to have a chance to break out above that 50% of historic returns range high right here, with any sort of a closure today above about 28,500. It's very important. If Bitcoin closes above 28.5, yeah, I do expect this rally to continue. Probably test back above 30,000 bucks actually. And at that point, you know, it's at the upper boundary of this region, and I don't know if it's necessarily ready to break out just yet, to be quite blunt with you. But hey, you know, if you start to see closures above 30,500, all right, things start to look pretty damn good, right? Anyways, until then, if Bitcoin, on the contrary, was to close below about 28, I wouldn't say 28.5, but 28.4, then I would be looking for this one to probably come back down, you know, somewhere around these prior lows here in the mid 26s actually, as we do see that the bands are starting to step down here. So while Bitcoin did have a nice try to the upside, it really needs to continue from here in order for this rally to be realized, if you will, as essentially what would be a bump and run pattern in this case. So if it is gonna run, Well, it would run from here, meaning that the bump already happened. It's time to run. So again, not a big pattern person on my end. Like I said, I think this market is still range bound. I don't think that we see anything like super interesting just yet. But if we put this in terms of stochastic momentum, we can see that, as far as that concerned, 5-day time frame, which closed last night, continues with this upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's above 26,300. The 2-day time frame will actually continue down below 29,000 bucks. I should contrast that with CME, which is actually gonna have a chance to continue on to the upside here above 28.7, which CME is above as of right now. And I do put more weight on the CME chart as always. And the daily time frame is also gonna have a chance to freshly cross up, assuming that Bitcoin, remains above 27,900, currently about $1,000 above that pivot. So, looking at these things, the higher term timeframes are starting to align in agreement here. And that's why I do say that this could be a bump and run. But if it is going to be a bump and run, we expect it to run from here, meaning no pullbacks, certainly no closures below like 28.4-ish region or 28.3 on CME here. 28.4 relevant for spot price action, obviously. But until then, this would kind of be the chance. We do see that volatility is starting to expand on the daily time frame, as is the 2-day time frame as well. I think more evident on spot price action here. But as we went over yesterday, this actually does, I do have to present the data as the data is, regardless of bias or opinion. And when we go back over here to this setup, I won't go through the full setup because it's just, I think that this one is just, I think it's really the same people just watching these videos anyway, so you don't need the same damn explanation for the same damn thing all the time. But we are starting to see volatility expand, and the 2-day stochastic oscillator is still positioned to the downside upon that expansion. And the pivot is 29,000 bucks on spot price action. On CME, different. Now, when spot and CME disagree, what do I default to? CME, of course, but I haven't done a study on when that differential occurs and what's happened in the past. So maybe that is some of the times that we do see this setup fail. But as of right now, that would be a higher probability for a downside break overall. So that is in there. That would be a higher probability. Now, I do want to go back on over into other markets, just because this video is already, we've already gotten through the bulk of the content, and there are some interesting things going on elsewhere. But if we go over here to Dixie, I just want to continue to highlight that yes, this one does look like it's topped out for now. I still remain with my prior analysis that this one, put in a major high right here. It'll very likely trade sideways and down here. It already kind of got to 105.5, but I think it could still reach a little bit lower towards 105 or 104.5. Wouldn't necessarily say that it's long-term bearish, but this one likely does pull back, giving a bit of a reprieve to risk-on assets, perhaps like Bitcoin. Also, if we go over to gold, which we haven't looked at in a long time, and I think Bitcoin and gold are actually trading a lot more hand in hand than anything else, regarding like traditional markets and stuff. Gold having a phenomenal bounce, basically off the back of some war news, and looking like it wants to test back up towards 1960-ish region, give or take a little bit from there. We do see weekly hidden bullish evidence, and we do see the weekly Jew also pointed up here as well. So ultimately, I am looking at this one as very likely to probably come back up and retest these highs. This is a pretty heroic reclaim here on the monthly, and I suspect that it will continue on into November, probably 2,000 or maybe more. So Bitcoin and gold have been a little bit more correlated here in the shorter term, in like the last, I would say, since March, April, May region. But yeah, and less so for traditional markets. But this one's showing, clearly that it does want to take another step up. If we go to the quarterly chart, I'm curious to see. Yeah, again, same thing here. Might even have a chance to engulf this one by the end of the year, actually, if it does trade back above 2,000 bucks, which I do think which I do think like is very, very possible, actually. So ultimately, gold kind of showing the way. I do think we can maybe just quickly look at a correlation coefficient just to double check on this one. Where is it? There we go. We'll go over here to Bitcoin, USD. Okay, we'll go with this one. Yes. Okay, apply. Blah 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 blah. Let's go down to a weekly and maybe a daily. Actually, no, it's actually not showing a very strong correlation here. That's very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. In fact, it'd be neutral. It'd be neutral, although the correlation is strengthening, as you can see. And typically there is a pretty strong correlation here. So, maybe this was a bit of a regression to the mean, and then, and then now they go back to being correlated a little bit more strongly, especially on these highs, it looks like. If you actually go through it, all the major highs and lows, they are very well correlated on, which is interesting. The decorrelation periods happen when they tend to trade sideways. Very interesting, actually. Anyways, yeah, it's probably a good place for me to be leaving off on this one. Go check out traditional marks too. Same thing as before. Still kind of filling out this overall region. I don't think it's ready to break out just yet, but long term, yeah, this one still looks pretty damn good to me. Yeah, longer term though. Longer term. Might have another step back down to like 15,000. I think that's fine, but no strong opinions there. Strong opinions on the higher term time frames, of which, yeah. This is starting to look a lot more like a bullish consolidation before a breakout to the highs of this year and perhaps beyond, especially with Dixie looking like it wants to continue on with that pullback. So I think I will end things right there. I'll end also my life as well. So we'll just get rid of everything now. But yeah, again, big focus today on 28.5. If Bitcoin closed above there, I do expect this rally to continue. Bitcoin closed below there, probably coming back down to this lower block, because if this is going to be a bump and run, it should run from here. It shouldn't come back down too much. And, if it does come back down more, then, looking somewhere around probably, well, first stop would be around mid 27, and then second stop would probably be around mid 26. And then if things really start to fall apart, below these September lows, and at that point, yeah, I'd have to be looking at this setup over here as very much relevant for significant downside. But for right now, I'm kind of discounting this one, to be honest with you, even though statistics do favor it. But fair enough, can very well be wrong on that. All right, I think I'll end things right there. As always, want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow, whatever day that might be.